Hi, John Jesse from the Health Continuum here today with another segment of our Success on the Continuum series, where we visit with real people making real progress, providing us inspiration and motivation. And I can't think of anyone more inspiring and motivating than Colleen Bennett, who we have here today. Welcome, Colleen.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Well, it's great to have you. Let me just give you a quick background on Colleen. She grew up in Proa, but spent 3 years in Norway. So if she breaks into Norwegian during the interview, you'll know why. Married for 48 years, 3 children, 12 grandchildren. That's where life is really about, isn't it? And worked at the school district as an executive assistant. When she retired, it just about fell apart. So they depended on her for so much. Well, Colleen, when we do the Success on the Continuum, we're visiting with some folks who maybe had a major shift. They had, they were kind of a little bit unhealthy in that. I think of you as someone who was probably never really unhealthy, but always doing pretty well. But as I've watched the last 20 years, you are now, in my judgment, in that top 5%. Maybe 20 years ago, you're, average. And now you have raised yourself to this high echelon. So we want to talk about that movement, which you've made and sustained. Talk to us about where that kind of began, and then we'll kind of work through it. Okay.
I've always enjoyed being active and being in the outdoors, snow skiing and water skiing, that kind of thing, but never on a daily intentional basis like now. And in my late 30s, I really went through a slump, and it was because of surgery. It gave me kind of an excuse to just become a little lazier, I think. But I also, you get caught up with children and family and work and church responsibilities, and life just took over, and I let it take over after this surgery, and pretty much quit exercising. And it wasn't until my early 50s. So you lose your energy, and life just goes on, and you end up finding yourself a little less healthy than you like to be. So that's where you come into play, John, because it was when we were at the district office, and we're teaching at the rec center, teaching the spin class. I had never been to a spin class. And well, I think I had been to one prior to, but you invited the employees of the district office to come to a 30-minute spin class during lunchtime. So that's where it started. A few of us from the district office came over to your 30-minute spin class. Remember going back to our desks, red face, and had to do a little sponge bath in between. That's where it started. From there, went to your 5:30 a.m. spin class. That was a little change along the health continuum for me as well, because now I was getting up extra early to get in this workout before going to school or going and so from there, being the motivator that you are, you had us out on Saturday rides doing the 7 Hills of Alpine, doing Suncrest. And maybe it was Immigration Canyon, stopping at Ruth's Diner on the way back.
That was fun, wasn't it? Let me take you back to that first. So you worked out at lunch, and a lot of people think, "Oh my goodness, I can't work out at lunch because I got to fix my hair, do my makeup, go
Yeah.
get my, I mean."
Yeah.
But it worked.
Harder.
You made it work for you. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. Made it work. And we didn't look the best in the afternoon. But
You had a glow. You had a
we had a
glow.
glow. We went back to the office with a glow. That is very true. And the spin class, I remember how hard it was to really get going. And I remember saying to Barry Graff, because you were good at pushing us, 5-minute miracles and push harder. And I remember asking Barry Graff one day, when is this going to get easier? Because I'm at puke point. He said, it's not, because you're just going to work harder and harder, which is true. But he also assured me, you're not going to feel like this on your bike rides. I think we were training for the Ulcer 111 miles around Utah Lake. That was my first
Wow. Yeah, I
ride.
remember that.
And it was a result of you kind of encouraging people in your spin class to come and join in. And I'm all about the social. And then having that goal and motivation and friends along the way. And that was kind of a big start back to this intentional health continuum of being healthier and feeling healthier and loving the way it feels.
So let's talk about that morning one for just a second, because these are key issues that people deal with. Oh, I want to work out in the morning, but man, I'm not a morning person. I haven't been doing that. You were at class by 5:30 a.m. And I'm assuming you weren't getting up at that early, like you said, prior to that decision. You made that decision. How were you able to make that transition to help folks understand how that is possible for normal people?
Yeah, yeah, and it's not easy. You just but it helps if you have a friend or friends helping you be accountable, and it becomes more even more than exercise, it's kind of a social thing, which then you get the double benefit because you're enjoying this time with people you enjoy, but also getting the health benefit from doing it. And this is kind of an interesting thing, John, since I retired, I still like to get up at 5 in the morning, and oftentimes we're out exercising at 5:30 a.m. because a lot of people are still working. And so it has become a lifestyle for me. It didn't start out that way and it wasn't easy, but now it is much easier and I thoroughly enjoy it. And I call it my morning therapy. It keeps me, just feeling so much better mentally, physically, emotionally, all the way around.
So you've been doing that for over a decade, but a lot of people see people doing that and they say, "Oh, well, they're just like that. They've done that all." But that wasn't your case. You're living proof that you can make a decision that that's a good time to work out, and you can get used to it, and now it's just part of you, right?
Exactly. And the thing that I love about the 5:30 a.m. workout is because there is nothing that gets in the way typically other than a little sleep, but it's well worth it because you have more energy during the day. You feel better during the day if you'll just make yourself get up. Those days that you do sleep in, we've talked about it with the groups of friends that I work out with that have said, I don't feel any better sleeping in. In fact, I feel worse.
You bring up a great point. I mentioned that in my book about times a day to work out. And the one great thing about morning is no one ever calls you up and interrupts you, or work doesn't generally get in the way. So, it is a little difficult to get up, but you're living proof. You mentioned the ulcer, that 111 mile bike ride, which around Utah Lake we did a few times. Talk about having an event and how has that helped you to train for?
It just is so helpful to have a goal to work towards, have people there motivating you, supporting you, helping you along the way. It just the feeling of accomplishment after you finish something like that, because it's not easy along the way as you're training. And there are days you're wondering, is it really worth it? And then you complete something like that, and it's like, whoa, that is awesome. Such a good feeling.
Are you still training? Are you still doing events
Still
now?
doing events. Have to tell you a success story, John, because
Please do.
you know my husband Craig, and we'd often invite him on our bike rides, right? And he would say, if I could ride my horse, I'd come with you.
He would always say that. If I could ride my horse, I'd come with you.
Exactly, exactly. On our mission, we started walking together, and he started enjoying the early morning exercise as well. Since we have come back, he has been walking every morning, riding his bike every morning. So we signed up a group of friends and some couples signed up to do this rooster ride. It's a 62-mile bike ride in Richfield. And
In
that was last
Richfield.
month. So I said to Craig, just expecting the same kind of answer that we would typically get, why don't you come and do it with us? And he said, okay, I think I will. And he started training, was out. He did his 62 miles at least twice before we ever went and did the actual 62 miles. The greatest thing at the end, I asked him what he thought. He liked it and he would do it again.
Double success story. Perfect.
Yeah.
Colleen, you've shared a couple of points about social, incorporating social, just making it your habit, training for events. Can you identify any other pieces that would enabled your success that you could suggest to other people as helpful to if they want to make movement along the continuum?
Yeah. The people you meet along the way, just that feeling of accomplishment, gaining a passion and love, and seeing what it does for you all around. It is so worth it. And I know some people get caught up in, age and have a hard time with age. For me, I feel like as long as I feel good and I can do the things that I love and be with the people I love, and then age doesn't matter as long as we can just enjoy good health and continue doing those things we love.
Well said. Well said. Well, thank you, Colleen. Thank you for being an example, and thank you for bringing Craig along. And then hopefully some people will hear this and they'll say, "Wow, she seems so energetic, so much energy, and she's getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Wow, maybe I can do that too." And that's what I would say. Go ahead.
And it all started with a 30-minute spin class during lunch.
Was that a crazy idea? But I guess that's how it starts. One decision.
Exactly.
So for you listen day, you could be like Colleen. You could change your life and change it for a long term. You could become more healthy, more fit, ready to enjoy life until you're ready not to be alive anymore. And I would say to you, as always, then, one strand, one change today. What are you able and willing to do? Think about it. What are you able and willing to do to begin to improve your health today? And then just do it. Until then, have a great and happy day. John Jesse with Health Continuum. Thank you.